In the tunnel.
In the tunnel.
In the tunnel. You're listening to In the Tunnel.
Hello and welcome to In the Tunnel, episode number 76.
76.
Yeah, we still got quite a ways to go for our 100, and I think that's when you want to celebrate.
Sure.
All right.
We'll get a big cake that says we wasted our time.
Yeah, but do I have to come to Pittsburgh, or are you gonna step your foot back in New Jersey?
I stuck my foot back in New Jersey. We're getting a good-ass ShopRite cake. That's for damn sure. There's one thing they did. It was a good cake. And sugar cookies. They had, like, the best sugar cookies, man.
All right. Anyway, on to the NFL. Yeah, so the only thing here is the Monday, like late afternoon game, I'd say, right?
Oh, that's this week? We get the late afternoon game?
On Monday. It's a 5
What?
o'clock.
It's going to be fun.
That's like,
Especially because since I'm training someone, I'm working till 3:30, so I don't miss the game. And I think I have like a deck hockey game at 10 p.m. So
okay.
I'll actually be able to watch the full game and not miss it.
Nice.
And that's going to be a good game too. The Bills versus the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Oh, but not LaShawn McCoy. Le'Veon Bell not going to play Monday,
Yeah, okay.
probably, even though he just signed with the Chiefs.
Yep. Yeah, aside from that, your games are the Titans and Texans, which you think is gonna be close? Even though the Titans are undefeated
The
still?
Titans are undefeated.
They had the bye though, right?
The Texans are about the furthest you can be from undefeated without, because they have the win.
Without being fully defeated.
Sure, yeah. But it's always felt like AFC South games just are like dog shit,
Uh-huh.
in that anybody can win them. Much
Okay.
unlike the fact that AFC North games always feel like anybody can win them, and then they turn into dog shit.
All right. Then we have the Colts and Bengals. I really don't know what to think about that game.
I mean, I can't buy in on the Colts right now.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
can't.
why. But then,
Well,
do I buy in on the Bengals?
well, apparently there are fans in Cincinnati who think that their offensive line, which for years has been the worst in like the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
is now underrated.
Okay.
And despite the fact they have one win, some Bengals fans think they should be undefeated.
Okay. I'm sure I can find you a fan of any team that will tell you that some part of their team is underrated and they should be undefeated.
Yes, but normally they don't say that the worst part of their team is underrated.
True.
That'd
Then
be
we
like
have
saying as a Steelers fan that our punters are underrated. They just can't get it inside the 20.
all right, then we have the Vikings Falcons.
I mean,
Eh.
Dalvin Cook isn't playing this week, but for the Vikings, but the Falcons are just so bad, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I guess now's the time to think that the Falcons are going to win because they just fired the coach and the GM.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, interim coaches always get like
They
the
have that.
spark.
Yeah.
They always have the first week spark where it's like, can they do well enough to take the interim tag off? And then the next year they take the interim tag off, and then they go like 7-9.
Yep.
And then we get the year after. Does this guy have control of the locker room? It's like, you really should have just. The Browns had it right. They just fire the coach anyway.
Yeah, and then we have the Giants and the Washington.
I'm gonna defer to you on that one
As much as I want to say the Giants will win, I have no faith.
because Matt Ioannidis' season is over. Is
Oh
it because
man.
he's already on IR?
With the other 175 players.
Yeah.
I mean, the IR doesn't really matter right now, dude. It's just the Giants are just bad, dude.
I think he had like torn triceps.
Yeah,
I
that'll do
mean,
it.
kudos to our former high school classmate for having muscles, I guess.
Yeah. Then we have the Eagles and Ravens.
I'd like for the Eagles to win.
I'd like for the Ravens to win. I knew we were gonna go.
I think the Eagles are capable of winning, but because the past 2 weeks I've kind of woken up and played competitively, but at the same time I think the Ravens are just too balanced to win.
Yeah. Okay.
Or to lose.
And we're on different sides of the coin because of the team we support. As far as who we'd prefer to win.
If the Steelers defense was supposed to be good and they gave up like 152 yards receiving to a guy who's like the 5th string wide receiver, the Eagles might have just woken up. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, well, let's talk about the Steelers next. So it's your time to shine. Steelers, Browns.
I don't believe in us to win this game. I really don't.
Really?
Our secondary has been an issue.
Really dropping the ball, man.
Defense looks good. But at the same time, Beckham, Landry, Austin Hooper, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's on IR, but Kareem Hunt. It's a lot to deal with, and there's only so many guys who are going to step up. I feel like there's going to be a letdown at some point. This might be the first one.
Okay. Then Panthers, Bears. I don't know what to say about this game.
I think the Panthers are consistently decent based on if you look at their roster and how they've played.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater is the same Teddy Bridgewater he's been all his career.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't throw for over 300 yards.
But
he doesn't throw for multiple touchdowns, but they still win like 17-10.
Yeah, okay. And
or they
the Bears?
lose like 24-19.
And the Bears?
I mean, Nick Foles can't start a game.
Yeah.
He can finish a game, he can't start a game. So until, it turns into baseball, I can't believe that the defense is going to be able to do everything for them.
Yeah.
If there's a team that it's true, it's probably the Bears defense, but
I mean, the Bears defense can carry a game, but there has to be a game where they don't.
Well, they can carry a game, but at the same time, they can't put up all the points.
Yeah, true. And then we have the Jags and the Lions.
I like James Robinson.
Okay.
That's all I have to say about the Jaguars.
Yeah.
They really don't have much else going on. They have good receivers, and they believe in
what does the Lions have going for them?
Adrian Peterson appears to be defying old age yet again, because he's got by far double the carries of Kerryon Johnson and DeAndre Swift, and the most yards, despite being 37 years old.
Okay, but that's it. I really don't see the rest of their team.
Well, the Lions have never had a defense.
Yeah.
They still have Stafford. They still have Marvin Jones Jr., who I guess is okay. He's not like a wide receiver one. And Kenny Galladay is... I feel like Kenny Galladay really should just be a wide receiver too, not a one.
Okay.
I think he would have done well if Megatron lined up aside him.
Okay.
But it's just a different time now. And I don't think that Kenny Galladay really intimidates defenses enough to game plan for Kenny Galladay to get tons of reps.
Okay.
So I think that, covering everybody equally works against the Lions.
Okay, so then we have the Patriots and the Broncos.
Patriots all over this.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically back, right?
Basically, but I mean, how many quarterbacks are the Broncos going to go through?
Let's rotate another 5 before the end of the season.
It's been Drew Lock, and then it was who the fuck was it? Who the fuck was the guy?
Dude, I stopped paying attention when I saw third.
Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah.
Then Brett Ripon, and they signed Blake Bortles, but they played Ripon. Or no, they played Driscoll, then they benched him for Ripon, and now I think this week they were saying they might go back to Drew Lock.
Okay. I really, as soon as they said we're gonna start our third quarterback, I'm like, I'm done.
Figured once they signed Blake Bortles, I was like, you have to start him, right? You can't put him at fourth string.
All right, then we have the first afternoon game is the Dolphins and the Jets. How's Flacco been for the Jets, right?
Who cares?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you can't tell me that every time the Jets game comes on, you don't just be like, at least the Giants are better than this.
I mean, they both, not really, dude.
I mean, they both play like 1 p.m. games, and it's like, at least one is better than the other. Because the Jets are so bad that they cut their best player. And the Jets are so bad that their best player, in the 2 years he was with them, couldn't even get like 100-yard rushing game.
All right, then we have the Bucks and the Packers for the other afternoon game.
Packers are all over this.
Yeah, I don't see anything different.
The Bucks are still technically the all-star crew, but when you go to Lambeau and Aaron Rodgers is on his revenge tour because the world was mad, and he's mad at the organization for drafting a quarterback in the first round, you're just going to have to deal with that.
Yep. Okay, then we have the 49ers and the Rams.
That was a toss-up.
Yeah.
Garoppolo sucked last week, but the Rams aren't the same that they were 3 years ago either.
Yeah. I truly think they have enough weapons that, like, Garoppolo doesn't need to play a standout game. He just needs to be okay.
Well, he wasn't okay last week.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna, double the streak of how bad he's gonna be. Then our first Monday night game is the Bills-Chiefs, because the Chiefs come off a Tuesday game.
I don't know on this one. That was hard.
I don't know either.
The Bills were defeated pretty handedly by the Titans.
I have Kelsey in my fantasy team, so I hope the Chiefs win.
Just hope that doesn't come down to Monday for you again.
Yeah. Then the Cowboys and the Cardinals for the actual Monday night game.
I think the Cardinals.
Yeah. I want the Cardinals to win.
The Cowboys have been putting up points, but the Cardinals just seem to. Their defense seems to be good enough to limit points. And their offense seems to be good enough to just win games. So they're just playing winning style.
Okay.
It seems to be working.
All right, so let's see how the standings are past week 5 now. Yeah. So the NFC East is a complete crap show with the top team being 2-3. That's all we're gonna say about that because it's not even worth talking about.
If there's one thing to say, this is like the year where like the 7-8-1 team out of the NFC East wins the division. It happens every 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, because like a couple years ago, Seattle was that team. They won their division at 7-9, and like the Saints had to go there and play, and the Saints lost.
That was the beast mode run.
Yeah. It's just like it's gonna happen. All these teams are bad.
But it's the NFC East. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like the NFC West does that maybe once every 10, 11 years. The NFC East does it like every 5 or 6. The NFC East goes from like, oh, everybody's really good.
But okay,
it goes. Go ahead.
There's the time when like everybody is like decent enough where your NFC East team is 8-8, but like all the teams were kind of close. There's also the time when all the teams are just bad and you get this.
But then there's also the years where it's like, like the top 2 teams are like 11, 12 plus wins. And then like the other 2 are like vying for a wild card.
Yeah, I know. It's a straight toss up.
It's a division of extremes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And anything we want to say about the AFC East? I'm actually kind of surprised that Bills are 4-1 in that division.
I mean, Josh Allen has a big arm, and Stephon Diggs
Yeah. I mean,
is a big piece.
I get that. I'm just like I really expected like a 3-2 top of that division. I don't know. In
Thought
the
with the money, I thought that with all the money that the Dolphins spent in the offseason, that they'd probably be better. Not like I'm more like 3-2, not like 4-1. But
okay,
I mean,
I was really gonna visit like that kind of thing in like week 8 to see where it is, because I feel like that really defines like where they're gonna end up, and with all the money they spent, you know,
I mean, yeah,
they
and
didn't
I
have
mean
like preseason and stuff, so like
yeah,
I kind of throw
that's
out the
true.
first 2 games.
hmm I mean, we all were hoping that the Patriots would be worse by now.
Yeah, I mean,
We
they
were
are
all hoping that
statistically.
we were all hoping that the Cam Newton experiment wasn't going to be a good fit and they were going to fail. But yeah, statistically speaking, 2-2. But
Yeah.
like 2 years ago, I think they won the Super Bowl. In week 4 they went to Detroit and lost on Sunday night. So
Yeah.
like they started 2-2 before in the Brady era, and it
Yeah.
didn't mean shit. So I'm not counting shit out yet.
Yeah. All right. And then in the AFC North, the Steelers are top for a bye week. And then they have 2 4-1 teams under them.
Mark my words, by week 8 we will lose the first place.
I would say like give yourself like 2 weeks, 3. You're saying 3, right? So
Well, we're now technically in the start of week 6.
yeah.
So I'd say by week 8. So that gives me 2-3 weeks to say I'd be surprised if we're still in it, because 4-1 isn't that far behind, and I feel like this is the year where we're probably going to lose the division to the Browns of all teams.
Yep. Okay.
I think it's more likely that the Ravens are going to win it, but if
But
it's not, I think we're going to be behind the Browns.
the Browns are actually playing pretty well.
Except for in their defense.
Yeah, but nobody looks at that. All right, and then the NFC North has the Packers at the top, courtesy of a bye week, with the Bears right below them.
Yeah. I guess the real surprise would be the Vikings being as bad as they were, because they invested in a bunch of defensive pieces and drafted Justin Jefferson. And he's been a good wide receiver pickup. But all in all, they still can't put enough together. I think it's all on Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
The guy just is not accurate.
Okay. Then for the AFC South, we have the Titans at 4-0. The rest of the division is at 2 loss or worse.
Yeah, I think it's the Titans to lose.
Yeah, and then in the NFC South, we have 3 teams at 3-2. I actually found that quite surprising.
Well, Drew Brees can't throw a ball downfield anymore, and his wide receivers are too busy punching their own teammates. So,
yeah, but like Kamara's still good, right? He's still on that team.
Kamara's still good, but that's only because he hasn't taken his nose ring out and shoved that up some dude's ass yet.
Oh my god! All right, then the AFC West, Kansas City's at the top. I don't think that's a surprise. I'm kind of surprised the Raiders are 3-2.
The Raiders are building to something, though.
Yeah,
they have good pieces.
Like I would have expected 2-3. I didn't really expect 3-2.
I didn't expect them to beat the Saints on Monday Night Football.
Then the
shit happens.
NFC West has the Seahawks undefeated without a bye week.
So this is one of those years where the NFC West is just going to be really good.
Yeah, I actually see that's a really close division right now. I really don't see it like splitting much.
The 425 games this year are going to be electric because they're all pretty much always NFC West teams.
Well, yeah, because it's just better time, dude.
Yeah, they're on the West Coast.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and yeah, all right. On to the next bit of news.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl got canned. Anyway,
yeah.
Moving on.
But like let's see what let's talk about this for a little bit, right? So the Pro Bowl got canned. I mean, I don't know who wasn't expecting that.
I mean, it's played in Orlando. It probably could have just been played at the Disney complex,
but the thing is, right?
how
Like,
do you stop a spread?
yeah, because you can't you literally have to get everybody there, quarantine, then do a game. Like nobody's gonna do that. It's not like they get paid for this game anyway.
I think it's also more of the idea of nobody, like guys opt out of the Pro Bowl all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like,
I'd opt out of the Pro Bowl anyway too.
Well, so you just don't want to go down there for 3 weeks because you're going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks ahead of time.
And then after.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like 2 months right there. Hell no, dude.
Well, it's like a month, but yeah.
Yeah.
A month and a half, yeah.
But yeah, so like I also think this is a pretty interesting thing because like now it becomes all right. So teams are getting into their bye, right? Mm-hmm. So what does that mean for when say a team also gets another like COVID outbreak, or a team that's already had a bye gets a first COVID outbreak, right? How do they schedule the games, right? Do they just wipe the game off the slate?
Make the team that caused the outbreak play in the Pro Bowl?
No, they just can't.
They have to be one of the 2 Pro Bowl teams. That stops the spread because
but now what if I had 4 teams that got COVID, huh? Separate incidents. Now you have 4 teams trying to play a two team Pro Bowl. Good luck with that one, dude.
Round robin?
Oh god, dude. All right. Let's move from professional football to college football. All right. So here we have 2 lists of top 25 for week 5 and week 6.
Sure.
You want to point out some key differences that you see?
Sure. Let's see. I never really took a look at this shit until now. How about the fact that Miami is either number 7, week 5? Oh, I mean, they lost to Clemson. They deserve to go from number 7 to number 13. They got their shit slapped out of them. Other than that, it's like, where's Waldo? What's the difference here?
LSU's out.
Yeah, LSU's 0-2. Is it 0-2 or 0-3? But they've lost at least one of those games to an unranked team.
Yeah, they're pretty bad, but they're out finally. Then,
which is good because it allows Michigan to move up, despite the fact that they're going to do the same exact shit when their season starts.
Yeah, I know.
What Michigan always does is they climb the ranks and then they just all the way down.
Yeah,
it's like the college football playoff committee was like, no, Michigan is, to use an analogy, like the stinky socks that someone just doesn't let in their house.
Yeah,
like, oh, you can't come in. You've got the worst smelling feet ever.
Yeah,
I don't know what you want to make of that.
I really don't know what to make of that, dude. Aside from that, like, you got a new entry in the top 25 at 25.
Oh yeah. The horror that is a world where USC isn't in the rankings. They had to make sure that they slipped them in.
Yeah, and then nothing else really changes.
I mean, it's like from 1 through 8 was like a lot of it's the same.
Well, I mean, so let's go there, right? The Florida goes into the top 4.
Yeah.
What? UNC?
Wait, no, Florida dropped from 4 to 10.
4 to 10. Okay, UNC went up to 5, right?
Despite the fact that they really don't play anybody. I don't think that UNC is good.
Okay, well, they went up to 5, so your opinion apparently doesn't matter.
Sam Howell seems to suck to me. So
and Texas A&M went up 10 spots.
Okay. I mean, they already lost a game. How did Texas A&M go up 10 spots?
I don't know, dude. They went from 21 to 11, right? Unless I'm just blind.
But they lost their first game of the season.
Hey, you gotta tell me, man.
Like, hold on. I want to see who they lost to because, like, this might be even funnier than I thought. Let's go to 12thman.com, whatever the fuck that means. I know I have an ad block on. Oh, okay. They lost to Alabama, who's a number 2 team.
So they go up 10 spots. Like, okay, maybe few spots.
They started by winning 17-12 to a bad Vanderbilt.
Okay.
They only separated themselves by 5 points to a team that's bad.
Okay.
Then they went to Alabama and lost 52-24. Like, not very competitively. Then turned it around and beat number 4 Florida by 3.
But still, how do you lose
10 spots is not an improvement that is justified.
Okay, 2 spots maybe, sure, but 10?
Right. I mean, we
God,
had this conversation on the last show, but Pitt won against a ranked team and went down 3 spots.
Yeah, they're not even in here, dude. Good luck ever coming back in.
Yeah, they already lost 2 games.
Yeah. All right.
Next 2 games to bad teams, too. The most Pitt thing ever.
Yep. All right. So, other news in the NCAA is they approve a one-time transfer eligibility rule for next year.
So this is for 2021 only, which does not help during a pandemic because people who want their eligibility right now, because a lot of smaller schools are cutting programs, this does not help them at all.
Yep.
But if you want to transfer next year, especially for college basketball,
all
you can
power
and get
to
immediate eligibility. Immediate eligibility. You don't have to sit out at all. Despite the fact that recruiting is a disaster this year because people can't go check out games or anything anyway. So this really is the NCAA saying, we're not going to pay players, but hey, we'll give them eligibility one time, and it's going to be the most inconvenient time.
All right, yeah. There's nothing really much about that. Like, I mean, it's kind of nice if it was like if it was resolved a little earlier. Maybe like if they thought about this
20 years ago.
No, like even if they thought about this before the season picked up this year, right?
Doesn't even matter about if it was for this year.
No, I'm saying if they did it earlier,
a long time ago.
But like, in response to the situation, it would have been better if it was earlier. I don't care how long ago you think it should have been done, but like it came up because of this COVID situation, basically.
Sure.
And it probably should have come up earlier in the COVID situation.
It should have happened. Like they should have had this in the rule book of like in case of like a pandemic or something. Shit will change.
Well, again, like we haven't had a pandemic in what, like 100 years?
So what? Wimbledon took out insurance policies for like pandemic insurance just in case for like 20 plus years in a row.
Yep.
And they cashed the fuck in the 1 year it happened, and they made $24 million off of a tournament that didn't happen.
Yep. All right.
The NCAA, they make billions of dollars, and they don't even fucking pay people that play the games.
Yep.
They should have had money to do this. They should have had money to make this happen.
All right. Anyway, on to the next sport, the NHL. So
you're leading the charge on this one, by the way.
Yeah, okay. The season's over, but free agency and the draft happened, and quite a bit has happened. Yeah.
Not to mention, Joe Thornton signed with the Leafs today.
Yeah.
Jumbo Joe and his 42-year-old. Because when Patrick Marleau doesn't work for you because he's too old, let's get 3 years older and sign Jumbo Joe.
Hey.
And let's do it 2 years later because we still haven't learned our lesson.
Yep. All right. Well,
Austin Matthews needs a role model. He's not good enough on his own.
All right. Anyway, let's just start from the top, right? So the biggest deal so far is Alex Pietrangelo goes to the Golden Knights for 7 years, $61.6 million.
They gave him the gold in more ways than one.
Yeah.
They gave him the gold jersey too.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I think it's a good deal for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why Vegas is getting rid of pretty much everybody else and then signing Petrangelo. It
Yeah, they
seems
even
like
said like, "Hey, Derek
seems like
Engelland, you
this
want an
is
office job?"
yeah, I mean, this seems like what the Penguins do when they're about to not be anywhere near the conference finals for like the next 8 years. But
Yeah.
if the Knights can pull it off, then go for it. I mean, we've all seen a team overpay and it not work before.
Right. Then you have Torrey Krug going to the Blues for 7 years of 45.5 million. I think that's a.
This is what we call the cause and effect move. So
I think he
because
gets
they
more
gave,
money in a non-pandemic though.
well, I was going to say because, and yeah, you're right. But I think because they gave Krug the deal, that was the writing on the wall for Petrangelo. So that's what I mean by the cause and effect deal.
But I don't think like I think Krug gets over 50 million if it's not a pandemic year.
Do you think in a normal year that Petrangelo just stays with the Blues? Because if the
I don't see
Blues,
it. I think if you
you
I
don't
think
see it.
if they
Look,
sign
they gave Krug more money. Obviously, it's over more years, or no, it's over the same amount of
yeah.
years. They gave like an $18 million difference or something.
Yeah. It's like
So
16
why
million.
wouldn't they just re-sign Petrangelo for less?
I don't think he takes it though. I
They
think he
would,
knows his value on the market.
but
I
his
think
value was less.
no, Petrangelo made more money.
Deal for like 25 or 30 million.
No, Petrangelo's deals for 60 million, right?
Oh shit! I'm thinking of Leonard. My bad. Wow.
No, Leonard, get your whack thinking out of here, dude.
And I can't fucking read the graphics on this shit.
You made the graphics on this shit.
Yeah, but look at how fucking small you made the screen.
You
This
know
is like
this.
size 17 font. Nobody's gonna be able to read this.
Anyway, the Taylor Hall signs a 1-year $8 million deal. I think the pandemic prevents his 8-year $80 million deal or whatever it would have been.
Yeah.
I think
Pandemic was gonna stand in the way of Taylor Hall not being able to win a championship.
But I think that he gets an 8-year $80 million deal if it's not a pandemic.
That's great. I think he's still not going to make the playoffs.
I don't care.
What
I'm
team
saying
he went to.
I don't care about him making the playoffs. I'm only talking about money because that's all that's on the screen right now.
The teams could have fucking gave him money.
No, I mean like you're going to the Sabres, you're not winning a fucking championship, okay? Like let.
But you know, if this was the shit that Taylor Hall was up against, you know, this was his morals and his high ground and his beliefs that he was just after money and not championships, then he really should not have been getting traded as much as he was.
Yeah, but like it's moral high ground money. Hello, you project a moral high ground, go for money. Is how it works. Like, come on.
True. And yeah, let's not phrase that in a way where moral high ground equals money.
No, you project one,
money.
but go for the other.
Correct.
That's what I said.
I would go for one, and the other will come in time.
Oh, now when you're an athlete, though, the other one comes first.
The Stanley Cup champion veteran always has a job for like 15 years because he's a locker room guy, and he's a quote unquote leader who's been there, who can get you back there with his leadership skills, despite the fact he puts up only like 12 points a year.
Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about Robin Lehner now. He signs with the Golden Knights for $5 million a year for 5 years.
Right, which was supposed to kick Fleury out, but then apparently Fleury has been convinced to stay, which is sad because Fleury deserves to go out on his own terms. I obviously feel like, but
yeah, I don't know.
I would have rather Fleury been traded, not necessarily back to here. And I also there's a part of me that says Fleury is too good and is too good of a guy to an organization to warrant having on his resume they played for more than two teams. He really should be a lifer with one team, but because of the scenario that we all know very well with Matt Murray, and the expansion draft, that couldn't happen. I think that if there wasn't an expansion draft, Fleury would have been a lifer with the Penguins anyway.
I mean, get ready for another one. Seattle Kraken are coming.
Yeah, well, we already got rid of Matt Murray, so like, if we could have kept Matt Murray for one more year, then not protected him, that would have been great just to take him off the books. But I think he would have been a free agent after this year.
Yeah. I think that
Didn't
deal's
stop
fine.
Vegas. Didn't stop Vegas for trading for the rights, but
I think that deal's fine though. The Leonard deal. I think good for him. He has a long-term deal.
yeah, I mean, he was chasing 1-year deal after the Islanders job.
Mhm.
Everybody thought after the Islanders year he was going to get the big deal. But
Uh,
he took the more mental stability because of his bipolar disorder. And I think that was the right move to prove to himself that he could go out and like have the right support system and stuff like that. And now that he's proved it, I think he's in a better place and can stand a 5-year deal. But if there's ever a city in the world where, you know, things can get the best of you, libations and stuff like that wise, it is Las Vegas.
all right. And then Tyler Toffoli signs a 4-year, $17 million deal. I truly didn't think he was worth that much money.
Nope, not at all. I don't think he was worth that many years. Fuck the money.
But no, I'm talking about average annual value money either also.
Yeah, I don't care about the money. He's not a 4-year deal kind of guy. He's like a 2-year, $8 million guy.
I still think 8 million is a lot. I think
It
I
is
think
a
it's
lot,
like
but like
2 years.
it is a lot, but it's an overpay kind of thing. That's what happens in free agency, no matter what sport.
All right.
I mean, that's the Le'Veon Bell thing. Someone was going to give him the money he wanted.
Yeah, so then Markstrom goes to the Flames for 6 years, 36 million. All the Canucks fans are crying.
But not for long because they got Braden Holtby.
Yes, but still, like all the Canucks.
I mean,
fans...
I'd rather have the young guy in Markstrom for sure, but
yeah,
you know.
but like also, I'm pretty sure a lot of Canucks fans actually like the fan base liked Markstrom a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's why they're crying, not nothing else.
Yeah. And this is again, anytime you can a good goaltender who's like solidified his spot as the number one leaves a team, that's a lot of consistency that's leaving the door. No matter if you do replace him with a Braden Holtby or something, Braden Holtby hasn't been that great since 2018. And is he going to answer those questions? And it very well maybe that you find out 30 games in that Braden Holtby isn't that same guy.
But
anymore.
Also, Braden Holtby's cheaper.
Which is wild because Braden Holtby was just on like a $70 million deal, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And now Braden Holtby is cheaper than Markstrom.
Yeah. But I mean, Markstrom's
crazy.
going for his long-term deal. Braden Holtby doesn't need a long-term deal anymore, really.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, Braden Holtby is probably what, early 30s?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see here, 31. So he's still back end of the prime.
Yeah, he has some good years left in him.
For sure. I mean, look how long Roberto Luongo played.
Yeah. All right. Then TJ Brody goes to the Maple Leafs for 4-year, $20 million. I don't have a problem with that deal. Yeah. So Kovalchuk, Hoffman, and Hoffman are still on free agency. I'm not really.
Factor's obviously still the wife thing. Yeah. Are they going to make fun of someone's dead child?
No, whatever. Anyway, Tyson Barrie goes to the Oilers for 1 year, $3.75 million. I think that's pretty good.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to correct myself. Braden Holtby was not on a $70 million deal. He was on a $30.5 million deal. I was about halfway off.
More than that. Okay. Anyway.
Oh boy.
Anton Khudobin re-signs with the Stars for 3 years, $10 million.
I'd say it's a decent, but it's also a good for him move because for a long time he was the backup to like Tim Thomas and Tuukka Rask, and he's now. I mean, Anton Khudobin's probably in his 30s too, but you know, this is like his one big contract. This is the biggest deal and probably the only deal that he's going to get. After this contract, he's probably going to be signing 1-year veteran minimum deals because he's 34 years old.
Yep. All right.
So
then,
this is like, yeah. And Holtby, what? Holtby got around.
Holtby got more AAV.
He got more. Okay,
Yeah,
which is
Holtby
good
got
because
4.25. This guy got 3.33 a year.
okay. So
Yeah, Derek Grant signs with the Ducks for 3 years, 4.5 million. I actually didn't even know this guy existed.
I did because he came up with the Penguins and then got traded in the Hagelin trade.
Okay. Jesper Fast signs with the Hurricanes for 3 years, 6 million.
I didn't know that guy existed. No, I'm kidding. I did.
Yeah.
I figured he probably played for, or he did sign with Carolina, right?
Yeah, he signed with the Hurricanes. I think
I think the Hurricanes are just moving from New York down to Carolina.
But I also think he could have got some more money. I don't know. I think 2 years, 2 million a year is low.
I'm really hanging on to this Rangers guys keep going to Carolina thing. You got Brady Shea. Let me see here. Stall for me. Go ahead. I'm going to look up the roster.
I mean, like, it's really the Lightning are the Rangers' retirement ground, though, not the Hurricanes.
This isn't necessarily retirement ground. This is more just this is what's happening. So Jesper Fast. Let's see here.
I mean, who else? I don't know many other on the Hurricane.
Brady Shea. Didn't they sign a goaltender? I don't know. I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess it's just those are the two biggest deals that the Hurricanes have gotten in the like past year.
Okay.
And they just happen to be guys who came from the Rangers.
Okay. Yeah, and then Shattenkirk goes to the Ducks for 3 years, just under 12 million. I don't know. He did well enough with the Lightning, so good for him.
Yeah, but he did horrible with the Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. But did well enough with the Lightning, so good for him.
Wasn't he bought
Vatanen is
out of
still
his
a free
Rangers-
agent.
Wasn't he bought out of the Rangers contract?
Yeah.
Like a year in?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
sad.
So Vatanen is still a free agent. It's kind of sad. I think he's a really good player. I hope we'll see what deal he is.
He's been bouncing too much, man.
What?
He's
He
been
was on the
bouncing for the
Ducks,
past.
and then all he's bounced between
And he
is
was-
the Devils and Hurricane.
Yeah, and that's all
3
within the
teams.
past. That's all within the past 4 years, though.
Yeah, but
3 teams in 4 years is considered bouncing to me.
No, he was traded twice. Bouncing is like,
Okay, well then, in my standards, Taylor Hall's bouncing.
yeah, okay, whatever. Like that. That's iffy. Like he bounced from the Yotes to the Sabres, sure, and then he'll be considered it because after a 1-year deal, we'll see what he does.
He'll bounce again. No, he's not staying in Buffalo. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm saying, does he sign a long term?
Taylor Hall would rather sign like a 2-year, $16 million deal to stay in Los Angeles.
Anyway, the Flames the Wild get Cam Talbot for 3 years, 11 million.
That's just sad. I mean,
I find that kind of.
I get that. Yeah, but I get Devin Dubnyk suck, but Cam Talbot isn't really that good anymore.
But I do think he's a little bit more consistent than Dubnyk.
I guess, but like, what isn't more like consistent than like floating, bird feathers?
Anyway, Granlund is still a free agent.
That's fine. Nothing
Bobby
really
Ryan
matters there.
signs a 1-year, $1 million deal.
The Red Wings.
Yeah.
Bobby Ryan is at the point in his career. He already won his cup, so
Yeah, he's doing whatever.
he's just trying to stay alive.
Yeah. Braden Holtby signs with the Canucks for 2 years, $8.6 million. So that's a 4.25 AAV. I think it's a good deal.
I think it for me, just based on the name, it felt like an underpay, but
I mean, I
he's
don't
not
know.
going to get $5 million a year anymore. So I guess it's right. It's actually, when I say it like that, it sounds like an overpay.
Eh.
Because if 4 years in 2015, if he was worth $6 million a year,
Mhm.
the fact that he's getting 4.8 now is like you really didn't drop off much in terms of what you were offering. You probably should have. You probably should have went around 4.2.
And then Thomas Greiss signs a 2-year, $7.2 million deal with the Red Wings.
I mean, anything's better than Jimmy Howard.
Also, that gets the Islanders out of their 1A, 1B weird-ass situation.
So now they can go back to their... See, the Islanders are good when they can play 1A, 1B goaltenders. It's when they have a definitive number one that they've always had bad luck.
It's also like, in that scenario, Greiss wasn't going to get paid.
Right, but at the same time...
So it's good for him, like this deal.
Right.
That's all.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's good for him for playing time, because Jimmy Howard's probably relegated to the bench now.
All right.
At least he should be.
Yeah.
He had like 30-plus losses last season.
Yeah. And the other thing that happened in the NHL is the draft. So
there were other graphics I couldn't read.
Anyway, Alexis Lafreniere went first overall. No surprise there.
Board game. Remember the board game where like you had to like flick the tiles down?
Oh my god.
This is like looking at that.
Guess Who or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Guess Who. I think. And then there was the band, The Guess Who. That was a real original name. Anyway, you were saying.
Anyway, so Quentin Byfield went second, and Tim...
The highest African-American to ever be drafted.
Yeah, and Tim Stetzel went third. I think those are pretty okay. I know. I think Byfield was projected to go second, and I think he deserves it, regardless of race or any other factor.
Oh yeah, look, don't twist my words into me trying to say that this is a race issue.
I'm just saying
just
like people
fact of things.
Yeah, I know it's a simple fact, but like people could take it that way.
Look, I live in one of the most culturally and ethnically diverse places in the world, and you know that from having visited here. I'm all for diversity.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, people could take it that way when seeing that he was drafted. He's the highest drafted African American as the first thing, right? And then so you have Tim Stitzel, then Lucas Raymond, and Jake Sanderson. I think those are pretty good picks.
Okay with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think Stitzel is a little. I think he's more of the reach at third. I think you could have flipped. Was it Raymond and Stitzel? Okay, and you're still
guys
fine.
With more upside. I think there's guys with more upside that went lower.
But I think that these, like, I think if you look at the top 5, or let's just even look at the top 10, you could see like even in the top 5, I think or top 10, you could see like 60% of them playing in the league next year.
What that's like. Our prospects never make it to the league in a year, unless they get traded.
Yeah.
That's very...
Aside from that, like, I don't know. Do you want to? I don't know. The Devils, which is my favorite team, they had the pick at 7, which we picked Alexander Holtz, and the pick at 8.
You're really good at pronouncing names. Let's see. You figure out number 20 once we get
and then with the pick at 18, which is Dawson Mercer.
Okay.
And then the pick at 20, which is Shakir Mukhamadullin.
Amazing.
Yeah. Out of those picks, I was actually quite surprised. I think Holtz is slightly reach, but I think he'll do pretty good for the system.
The only reason why they pick him high is because they knew that they had other draft picks.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I think he's the reach pick out of the 3.
It's the Daniel Jones pick.
I don't think it's a Daniel Jones reach, though.
Okay, it's a John Gruden Oakland Raiders kind of reach.
Okay, fair enough.
Like they have 3 picks, so they're just gonna select like a guy who should have gone in the second round at like the 4th overall pick.
Yeah, I would say let's go over the Penguins picks, but I'm pretty sure they had none.
As soon as they announced that they were keeping the one that they were going to trade to the Wild, they immediately flipped it for Kasperi Kapanen.
Yeah.
It's like, why bother? We have a GM who's like old as rock saying, we need to get younger. And then he just trades away every draft pick in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The past 2 years, we need to get younger. It's like, yeah, I guarantee you're going to trade all. Don't even fucking lie to me either.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the top 10 for this and actually the first round went pretty that reliant. I don't know, like sure they all played, but like you also had COVID, so you had no like meetings and all that. You couldn't like see a workout and all that. So I don't know. Anything to say?
Every one of these guys has to deal with COVID. This isn't exactly any breaking news.
Well, no, I'm just saying like the draft was a lot more stat reliant by the teams than previous years because of COVID.
The draft is going to be worse next year because is it the OHL is saying you can't do any contact for this next season?
I'm not sure. I didn't actually look at the OHL.
It's either the OHL or CHL or something. There's a league that's saying you can only play if there's like no physical element to it.
I'm not watching the OHL. Okay, next, moving on.
No, I'm not saying watch it. I'm saying scouts are going to watch it, and that's going to change how the game is played.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more open ice, and there's going to be a lot more points, and it's going to be an illusion.
Yeah, but like your defensive like plays played out down because you can't contact at all. Yeah. Anything else to say about the NHL?
That's it. Come home, sweetie, honey.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, it's gonna probably not be till February though. That it comes back.
I think they said December.
I saw February like a day or two ago.
Oh, okay. I looked like a week ago and it was saying December.
It's not like the NHL to be like saying one thing and sticking to it. I mean, the NHL, like the NFL, very much is a last second change your mind thing. That's how they end up with lockouts.
All right. Anyway, our quick touch on the MLB postseason. The Yankees lost. Sad. So the Rays and the Astros are the AL Championship Series, and the Dodgers, no surprise, and the Braves, no surprise, are the NL Championship Series. I'm pretty sure I told you that the Rays were gonna win the series, and you told me the Yankees were.
I don't believe in the Yankees to win shit. Now, I just want to point out it's sad to see that the Marlins finally lost their first ever playoff series, and it took a pandemic for it to happen. But you know, this is what happens in the MLB, and it's so typical. Small market teams get to the playoffs just as big market teams do.
Yeah.
And then it's survive in advance. And as you get further into the postseason, the money teams always show up.
Yep.
And so you always get a team like the Dodgers and in this new age, the Astros. And no matter what happens with the Dodgers, they can always lose the World Series like they do. But it's like, are we ever going to switch it up here? And because it's MLB, the answer is no.
MLB switched something up. Are you kidding me?
That's true. How can I ask a 200-year-old game that's still going off day one rules to switch something up?
You can't, dude.
Bud Selig is rolling over in his grave being like, I think I could have done better.
Yeah.
Not that he would have, but he probably thinks he could have. Bud Selig probably, when he was commissioner, was probably like, if I could change the game, I would do this, this, and this. And just like a room full of 70-year-old guys, or like, I guess I would have been his peers, would have said, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
All right. Yeah, so do you have
baseball is like, it has one yes man in a room full of no.
All right, so do you have any predictions for what the World Series will be?
I'm sure the Dodgers are going to make the World Series.
Yeah, I'm going with Dodgers Astros. I don't know about you.
I'd like the Rays to win a World Series, but especially because sooner or later, I feel like it's inevitable that they're going to go to that Montreal Tampa Bay split, and you might as well win one for Tampa Bay before you're winning one for two different countries.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be the Astros that make it though, and I think the Dodgers
think so
are...
too, because the Astros have the big chip on their shoulder. We have to show the world we can win without cheating, despite the fact that apparently I haven't watched a second, but from what I've heard, Jose Altuve's having like the worst postseason ever.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else to say?
Yeah. So I was gonna create a I pose a question segment, and then create a graphic for this one, and then I got home today. I was going to create a graphic before sending off the graphics to Sean. It was going to be a little bit more lighthearted, but I couldn't find coaching history of the Washington Generals. I was going to say, is it time for the Washington Generals to consider a front office overhaul? And so they do have a coach, contrary to popular belief. I did find out this isn't the current roster because on their website, not every player has a link with college and bio and stuff like that.
Okay.
They did have a team in the past, or a player in the past 10 years that went to Rowan University, which is your alma mater.
Good. I mean,
this is a team that had at one point a 2,495 game losing streak. So, I mean,
what the heck, man? If you have a 2,495 game losing streak, you might as well just nuke the team. Forget a front office overhaul.
So, fun fact, the GM of the Washington Generals is Kenny the Jet Smith, the former NBA player who's inside the NBA on TNT. Oh. He is the GM of the Washington Generals.
Dude, just destroy the team. Just dissolve the whole team. I don't even want to hear it.
I mean, it's a shtick. They're not supposed to win games. But I did find out they actually have won somewhere between, on record, 3 and 6 games against the Globetrotters.
Ooh, wait.
In all the years that they've been alive. Only playing one team.
The only thing is, right, you don't have an accurate number. It's between 3 and 6. If it can possibly fit on one hand and you can't...
There is a definitive 3. Okay. And it happened in like 54, 57, and like 71.
Okay. So where does the non-definitive 3 come in?
Let's find out. All right. We're Washington Generals. Let's see here. See here. Yep. Okay. In 2007, the Globetrotters won a game 54-50. That's got to be pretty close.
That's close. Okay.
Let's see here. Okay. So figures vary as to exactly how often the Generals have beaten their rivals. Some reports say 6, while the team's official website reports having 3 victories over the Globetrotters, one in each of 1954, 58, and 71. The 1971 is the most storied. Well, hold on. 1971 is the most storied of these, and is sometimes reported as the team's sole victory. So, despite the fact that they claim to have 3, they also state on their own website it's 1.
Oh my god, dude! No. Oh my god.
Oh god.
All right. Well, dissolve the whole team. Just do it.
Okay, when I clicked on the link about the 6 wins, the link takes me to the Santa Cruz Sentinel, an article from 2016 about how sports agent pleads not guilty to Cuban player smuggling.
Okay, well, yeah, so they have 3 wins.
So Wikipedia's broken.
They have 3 wins.
We broke Wikipedia. So yeah, the guy who coaches
does he just put on like a circus act in the middle of the game?
No, he's actually a legitimate coach.
Then why do you have a 2,500?
He played in the NBA for 3 years and then played in some European leagues. Then he was a coach of the Albany Patroons, the Miami Tropics,
Okay.
and then some EuroLeague teams. So he's been a professional coach, or at least a pro-am coach. I've never heard of the Miami Tropics. Okay, it's the former. It was the revamped American Basketball Association.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, you have my opinion. Just nuke the whole team.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't the coach for all 2,000 plus games, so there is that. But I don't know.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Stay tuned.